Hello, this is Metal444 here, and welcome to another video. Now, this video is going to be on Game of Thrones Season 6, and the previous seasons. It's also going to contain spoilers from A Dance of Dragons and also the previous Game of Thrones books, so I'm just going to preface this video by saying, if you haven't read those, or seen them, then please don't watch this video if you don't want to be spoiled. If you don't care about the books, and you only care about the show, and you've seen the show, please stay along. This video is hopefully going to be quite intriguing, basically. Yeah, so this video, what I'm going to be talking about is, in the show, as you might know, Dorne was not very successful. It was one of the biggest downfalls of the show in season 5. It's one of the reasons that it didn't succeed as the show had done in the previous season. It's one of the big flaws that many people have with the series, and subsequently in season 6 Dorne has just been sort of cut out of the whole plot. They just sort of ignored them and ignored the whole existence, all because of their mishaps that they've made in season 5. Now what I'm going to do in this video is go over things that they could have changed, things that they should have done better, and sort of describe the story of the books and see how that describe how that would have been better than the story that was portrayed in the show. So yeah, let's get right into it. Okay, so the first change that probably should have happened in the show, or probably shouldn't have happened in the show, was that of the main character that the whole Dornish plot was focused on. Now, in the show, they picked Ellaria Sand to be the centre of attention. She sort of leads the Sand Snakes in their plot to go against the Dornish rulers, and this is different in the books. In the books, it is actually Arianna Martell, who is the daughter of Dorne, who leads the sort of revolution against the Dornish leaders. Now, in the show, Ellaria Sand is picked because she is sad after Oberyn's death, and she feels that that Oberyn shouldn't have died, and it was unjust or something, that the fight shouldn't have took place or something like that. And it's not very good reasoning as to why she's against the crown, because it was all very legal, very rural, and that's why in the books Ellaria Sand doesn't really care. There's like she's not really mentioned, and she doesn't really play a key part in the books. However, in the show she takes a very central role in leading this revolution against the Dornish rulers, because she feels that Doran is weak because he's not doing anything about the issues with the death of Oberyn and the death of Elia, obviously so many years ago. She sees him as weak. Now this is quenched by the book, as Ellaria is said to be because Ellaria is older and Ellaria is quite smart. She understands that Dorne is planning something. She understands the intelligence of Dorne, so doesn't really question it. However, someone who doesn't understand is Arianna Martell, who is Doran's daughter. She is quite young in her. Yeah, she's quite young. So she's not as intelligent as Ellaria is portrayed in the books. So she doesn't make as many rash decisions as Ellaria does as Arianna does in the books, or at least she shouldn't. However, she does in the show. She is kind of the same character, because Arianna feels that Dorne isn't doing anything, feels that he's weak, he isn't doing anything to counter the fact that Oberyn has died and been unjustly killed, as well as the deaths of Elia Martell, etc. So Arianna's plan is to steal Myrcella and take her away to name her as queen, because technically in Dorne, the first daughter, no matter the first child, becomes the next in heir to the throne, no matter of gender. So she believes that Myrcella is rightfully the queen, so she tries to steal Myrcella to make her queen. This is also coupled with the fact that Arianna is jealous of Quentyn Martell, because Quentyn is because she saw a letter that said that Quentin would take over Sunspear in the place of Dorne when he dies, and Ariana obviously feels that she's being betrayed, as she thinks that she should be in charge, not knowing why this is, because she's very naive, and she's portrayed that way in the book. She manipulates the Aerys Oakheart of the Kingsguard to allow her to get closer to Myrcella and to add this knight to her aid. She steals she steals away Myrcella with Gerald Dane or Darkstar, as well as Aerys Oakheart and some others, and they escape together and they all leave. Meanwhile, unlike in the show, the Sand Snakes have been locked up in a castle because of fear of what they might do. Dorne fears that they might do something rash and irresponsible, because obviously their father has just been murdered, so they are locked up, unlike in the show when they are let free and eventually do something rash. And the storytelling in the show is a bit rushed, and it's not exactly very controlled, and the characters aren't very compelling, so don't feel for the plot line. It's very quick, and you sort of see the whole thing as kind of pointless, and it sort of takes away from this whole power that they have in the books. Now, Ariana is eventually found by Erehotar and his guards, and Aerys Oakheart gets off to fight Erehotar. Ariana says, "No, don't do that. You're going to die. He's so much better than you." But she says, "No, I do what I want," and instantly gets decapitated by Erehotar. And we never actually saw him use his big axe in the show, and it would have been nice to. But sadly, he just died, because that's what the showrunners felt like doing, which is a bit frustrating. We then find out later on that the reason that Quentin was set to inherit Dorne was because of the Dornish plot to, or their part in the Targaryen restoration, something that Ariana had not been aware of previously, and something that unfortunately has been cut out of the show. The plan was for Ariana to marry Viserys Targaryen and become the Queen of the Seven Kingdoms when he landed with the Dothraki. However, obviously, people, what happened to him. So she then finds out and accepts the fact that, oh yeah, I'm wrong, I understand now. And Quentin is actually sent to Daenerys to marry Daenerys. Now, I'm not actually going to go into his storyline, because his storyline is extremely interesting and for another time, and it's a lot more spoilery than Ariana's. Now, Ariana's is a lot more compelling because you really feel for the character, it's a lot more. It's not more plotting, and there's a lot more behind the scenes stuff. The reason that there's no reason for why Dorne doesn't do anything in the show. They just sort of portray him as weak, and they just kill him off instead of giving him that reason to be reclusive as he is. And they just sort of waste this fantastic storyline that they could have used, and they don't use it, unfortunately, because obviously Dorne has these reasons to, he's part of the Targaryen restoration. And people say that there's some sort of Dornish master plan as well, because there seems to be a sand snake in every part of the world now. Some of them going to King's Landing, some of them going to the Citadel and stuff like that. That there seems to be sand snakes everywhere, or at least Dornish men everywhere trying to infiltrate and gain more knowledge. Now, I feel that Ariana's storyline would have been much better to portray in the show, because it really gives sort of power to Dorne, and it also gives the Targaryens another supporters. So when the Targaryens do eventually arrive, it would have been nice to see the Dornish side with them. That probably will happen in the show, though, anyway. But it's nice to have that sort of lead into it anyway, in the first place. Also, the crowning of Myrcella is extremely interesting. Instead of just trying to kill her to spite Cersei, which is Illaria's plan, crowning her really throws Cersei off, because it puts her against her daughter, which is really, really intelligent from Ariana, and it shows the sort of intelligence that she has as well, to be able to do that, and it would have been fantastic to see, but unfortunately the show decided not to do this, and got on the much weaker storyline where they used only 3 of the 8 sand snakes, and actually used them in a poor way. where you didn't really feel compassion for any of the characters, you didn't really feel for them, the storyline was boring, the scenes weren't very compelling, it wasn't enjoyable to watch, I didn't like watching them, and this storyline is so much more interesting, so much more intrigue, so much more plot, something that Game of Thrones has been known for, that the show decided not to do, perhaps with the cast, perhaps because they didn't want to cast a new character as Ariana, just because Ilara's already been cast, and we understand her motives, but I think it would have been easier to do Ariana, but maybe they just didn't have the screen time or something, because it is quite a heavy plot line in A Feast for Crows, the 4th book, so maybe that's it, but I'm not really sure. But anyway, yeah, that's my thoughts on the Dornish mishap that is Game of Thrones, and yeah, I'm sorry that the pictures in this episode are stagnant, they're all the same. It's very late where I am right now, and I really wanted to get this video out. Yeah, so I can't actually edit it tonight. I'm sorry. So it's just gonna be the image. But hopefully, my videos are more of a talking based thing where you just listen to me talk and see what I have to say. Basically, I mean, you can agree with my point of view or not. If you don't agree, leave your opinions in the comments. If you do agree, leave your opinions in the comments. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, subscribe for Game of Thrones content. And yeah, that's it for this video. I'll see you next time.